Champ is here. Islam, как себя чувствуешь, брат? Как обстановка?
Как это рыба.
Заряжен, да?
I feel like JDM was a dark horse. For him to take on a guy like Islam Makhachev, not steering away from that challenge.
I've picked him in every fight, and I'm going to pick him to beat Makhachev as well.
It could be two things. It could be a very, very boring fight.
I don't think it can be boring. I know it could be, where maybe Makhachev does stall it out, but I think if Makhachev does have an advantage in the grappling, and I think he will be able to use that into a finish.
UFC 322 is only a couple of weeks away, and Khabib Nurmagomedov has arrived in the United States to join Islam Makhachev for the final stage of camp. The former lightweight champion is pushing Islam hard for his welterweight debut, making sure every detail is on point as Makhachev gets ready to face Jack Della Maddalena.
Хорошо. Ислам, второй вопрос. Как проходит подготовка? Что нового в этой подготовке у тебя?
Все было
Чем
нормально.
отличается?
Пока ты не приехал 2 дня назад, я начал отличаться.
Нормально отвечай. Давай.
Чем не отличается? Веса больше. Дырхамов весит 91 килограмм. Раньше я работал с пацаном, который 84-83 весили максимум.
Понял. А как сгонка на этот раз?
С гонки даже не думаю. Жизнь изменилась.
Да.
Как на 70 пришел, да. Раньше всегда думал, на ужин где покушать, что покушать. Сейчас без разницы, лишь бы покушать.
Работаем.
Henry. Cejudo is predicting a clear win for Islam Makhachev at UFC 322. He questions why some people believe Jack Della Maddalena can match Islam, arguing that Makhachev is better everywhere. Fight IQ, control, conditioning, and composure. Cejudo says he expects complete dominance from Islam.
Explain to me why he's better or why he's going to give Islam a good fight. I just don't see it. Striking, grappling, submissions, takedown defense, takedowns. I see total dominance from my brother, Islam Makhachev.
Kamaru Usman says he's cheering for Islam Makhachev, but he isn't calling it an easy fight. He points out how quickly Jack Della Maddalena has improved and how tough he's been in recent performances. Usman believes it will be a hard match, but if anyone can make it look smooth, it's Islam.
It's not going to be that easy. Jack has just gotten exponentially better in such a short time. I've watched him in a couple of fights. Spirit was never broke. It's going to be difficult, but if someone can make it look straight up easy, Islam possesses the skills.
I'm hearing through the grapevines too that Islam Makhachev, he doesn't have that too many fights in his career. Remember, dude, Khabib Nurmagomedov retired young, bro. These guys will follow suit. You know why? They train like freaking maniacs. They train hard, bro. There's something different with Russians. They love leaving on top.
Usman also finds this matchup fascinating. He praises Jack's fast progress and respects Islam's proven skill set, saying both bring something valuable. He remembers how many fans first saw the fight as one-sided, but now he sees it as much closer and more competitive than people expected.
Versus JDM in the MSG. How do you think it will play out?
It's a very, very intriguing fight. JDM is growing at a rapid pace, and we all know what Islam possesses, and we know how good Islam is. So I'm intrigued about that fight. I don't think, because I feel like some people are kind of, initially when that fight was being announced, people were like, oh, this Islam's going to do this, Islam's going to take care of him, or JDM's too big. I think now we're starting to understand that fight's going to be a lot closer than we think.
On the other side, Mario Bautista wants JDM to pull off the upset. His heart leans toward Jack Della Maddalena getting the win over Islam Makhachev at UFC 322. He admits someone eventually has to beat one of the Dagestani stars and thinks Jack could be that guy, while also wondering how big Islam will look at welterweight.
Islam Makhachev versus Jack Maddalena. Who you got, Mario?
I'm going to go with Jack on that one. Someone has to beat one of those guys.
God. Are you taking Jack?
What's
he
the odds?
takes him out?
My heart says I want to go with Jack, but
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see how Islam, is he going to be just bigger and stronger at 170? And it probably cuts a lot to 55. I'm hoping Jack.
Demetrius Johnson calls Jack Della Maddalena a dark horse against Islam Makhachev, praising Jack's technical skill and recent impressive wins. He says many thought one of those fights would be dull, but it turned out exciting. Johnson credits JDM for taking on a dangerous opponent like Makhachev and says their size and skill make this a very interesting matchup that could go in different directions.
He put on Bilal Muhammad, being able to finish him and just out-jab him. A lot of people said that fight was going to be boring. It turned out to be a banger fight. for him to take on a guy like Islam Makhachev, not steering away from that challenge. Islam is coming up, so he's going to be, I feel like comparably size-wise, they're going to be about even, Islam's super good. JDM's got Craig Jones in the camp to, battle. And Volkanovski to battle that, Dagestan wrestling. It's going to be, it could be two things. It could be a very, very boring fight, or it could be a very, very exciting fight. Meaning by the way it could be boring is if Islam's able to take down JDM and get his back, hold him there, out-grapple him, stop,
Johnson explains the fight could slow down if Islam. Makhachev gets JDM down, controls the back, and keeps him on the ground. But he also praises JDM for never accepting bad positions, pointing to his bout with Gilbert Burns, where he kept scrambling and standing up. Johnson highlights JDM's strong anti-wrestling and relentless pace, calling it a compelling clash between the best at 155 and the best at 170. He says matchups like this don't happen often.
Stifle him. He could potentially do that, but the one thing I love about JDM when he fights is he never accepts the position. When he was fighting Gilbert Burns, great grappler, takes him down. Right when he gets up, he throws that knee into the void. Gilbert Burns ducks down into it. He runs into it. JDM doesn't accept the position when he gets taken down. He's always looking to grapple, always looking to anti-wrestle. That's what makes this fight exciting. And he's got some fucking good hands. He's not the way his boxing is, he's very tight. I'm excited for that fight just because we're seeing the best at 155 take on the best at 170. It's very rare when the moons align. Same thing at the co-main event. Shevchenko taking on Wade.
Let me have a turn in the main event.
Meanwhile, Jorge Masvidal believes Islam Makhachev is the most dominant ground fighter in MMA right now. He says once Islam gets the fight to the mat, his control and submissions are on another level. Masvidal adds that Islam's ground and pound is punishing, calling him a nightmare on the canvas, and points to the dominant win over Charles Oliveira as proof.
Makhachev and Jack Magdalena.
I got Islam.
Islam. It's a good fight.
Yeah,
it's a good-ass fight.
I think that's a really good fight for Islam. Islam's top control is different than Bilal. Like Islam.
Oh, yeah.
Islam,
No, that 100%. I think he's the best guy on the ground, on the mat. Once it hits the mat, nobody else has better ground control, submissions, just everything. On the ground, he's a real-life nightmare. Strikes as well. He does damage. I would easily say Makhachev is the best ground fighter right now, especially after what he did to Charles Oliveira. What he's done to so many guys it's crazy.
Masvidal also asks whether Islam Makhachev can handle Jack Della Maddalena's size, athleticism, and strong takedown defense. He notes Jack has been hard to ground in past fights, but Islam's clean technique and judo trips make a difference. Masvidal thinks an early takedown from Islam could swing the fight and wear Jack down, though he still views Jack as a real threat with smooth stance switches and sharp boxing, among the best striking in the UFC.
He's going to be able to deal with the size and the defensive athleticism wrestling of Jack, because Jack could wrestle pretty damn good defensively, and he showed out against Bilal. Bilal, I know, is not Islam with the technical savviness, especially up against the cage, because I feel like Islam has several degrees with his foot sweeps, his judo, a lot of the things that he does like really, really slick, so it could be early on in the fight. Islam could get you down and get you tired early, He's very, very good at doing that. But that being said, I think Jack is a threat he's never faced before. I think Jack, and to be honest with you, Jack has some of the best hands right now in the UFC. Bar none. Like, I could see this guy throwing hands with anybody. He's not going to have a problem. The way he switches stance, it's like he's a Terrence Crawford. Man.
Furthermore, Usman Nurmagomedov predicts Islam Makhachev will take Jack Della Maddalena down, drain his energy, and control him from the top. He says everyone knows Islam's plan, yet no one stops it. Usman adds that watching Islam chase a second division title has motivated the whole team, since it's an achievement their gym hasn't reached yet.
What do you think Islam does against JDM?
You're gonna take him down, make him tired, hold him there, and after that, if you can finish him, if you can, by decision, you have to win. All people know what we're gonna do, but they can do nothing with that. And we're so excited for him because of two-time champion. In our gym, we don't have this guy, but Islam gonna be
However, Dan Hardy praises Jack Della Maddalena's boxing and says he's admired it for years, calling him the best boxer in MMA. Even so, Hardy believes Islam Makhachev is moving to welterweight at the perfect time. He explains many fighters wait too long and limit their growth, while Islam is letting his body develop naturally, which should make him stronger and more dangerous at 170 pounds.
I've been high on JDM for a long time. You know, I remember doing interviews back when Ngannou was crossing over to boxing, and people were talking about who's got the best hands in MMA, and I was saying JDM at the time. I mean, his boxing's always impressed me. But at this point, I feel like Islam's moving up a weight class at the right time. You know, there are a lot of fighters that stay in a weight class for too long, and they seem to kind of stifle their physical growth. I don't think Islam can stay healthy and stay in that lightweight division for any longer. And I think right now he's allowed himself to move into a division where his body's just going to grow into it. He's going to be incredibly powerful.
Hardy thinks Islam Makhachev's complete game will be a problem for anyone. He expects the stand-up to be competitive, with Islam gaining a small edge through kicks. As the fight goes on, Hardy predicts Islam's wrestling and grappling will take over, likely leading to a late submission finish.
And I just think Islam's all-round game is so problematic for any single fighter. I see him taking it. And I can see him probably a 50-50 striking exchange, Makhachev winning with a kicking advantage, but then he's grappling and his wrestling taking over, probably winning by sub in the championship round.
Jason Mayhem. Miller calls Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena a high-stakes matchup. He notes Jack looks huge for the division, while Islam has sometimes looked drained from cutting weight. Miller believes the move up may make Islam seem smaller at first until his body adjusts, but his wrestling should still be the key factor.
Well, who do you think takes that fight?
Usually, you know, my money is on the guy with the V at the end of his last name. And this might be a little different because we saw, Jack is a big boy, like a hoss, really, for that weight class. I was like, oh my goodness, he looked like a battle toad. Like you just saw such a big man for that weight class. And Khamzat, he looks like he sucks to get down to that weight, you know. So going up, it's going to be like he'll be a bit smaller depending upon how he puts the weight and whatever, and if there's been enough time between. But coming down to skill-wise, it looks like the wrestling will be the big factor.
Miller also praises Jack Della Maddalena's defensive wrestling in his last outing, saying he handled the takedown attempts well, even if they weren't elite. He sees that performance as a helpful warm-up before facing Islam Makhachev. Miller says MMA always allows room to evolve, and he expects Jack to show clear improvements in wrestling, coming in as a more complete fighter.
Had excellent counter wrestling in that last match, but the takedowns were more straightforward. They were more, that was like kind of a tune-up for this fight. Now, look, the beauty of this sport is Jack can figure out some more details that he didn't have in that last fight, and even improve his wrestling by leaps and bounds, depending on who he trains with, and really like be a new fighter by the time he gets there.
Miller further predicts the fight will test endurance, with Islam Makhachev's pace setting the tone. He expects it to start on the feet and then flow into wrestling exchanges. For Jack Della Maddalena, Miller suggests making every moment physically taxing and hunting knockout chances early in each round. He considers the matchup tight and admits he's still unsure whom he would pick to win.
Takedowns will become a factor, and then it'll be a conditioning test. Let's see who, and the methodology of the Russians, I guess you'll call them, is that the grind is completely embraced. Like that's where they thrive. So it will be early on sort of kickboxing contest with a couple of takedown attempts thrown in and like locking up against the cage. And then it will probably turn into, okay, now I really take a chance and wrestle him to the ground. Jack has to make every one of those a grisly grind. And then at the beginning of each round, let's go kickboxing full out. Like try to get him, try to knock this man out. It's a toss-up. I haven't really decided on who wins that fight. I need to do a little more research.
That wraps up today's breakdown. Share your thoughts and predictions on this matchup in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more updates on this thrilling showdown.